Tell me, Norm, if you were a hot
Yeah,
dog, would you eat yourself?
I just
I'd
might.
smother myself in brown mustard and onions. Hello, and welcome back to the Paddle and Fin podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian. This is just going to be a little bonus episode for you guys. So if you haven't seen our social media this past week, Scott announced he's stepping away from the show, and Mr. Jay Randall is going to be stepping in his place. Scott's still going to be on the podcast from time to time, but he's just got a bunch of life stuff going on that he needs to attend to, and we wish him nothing but the best, and just want to let you guys know he will be back around. But in the meantime, we got Jay stepping in. And when Scott gets back, we're going to intermix and change it up. You know, I myself may not be on, and it may be Jay and Scott, or, whatever. Me and Jay, me and Scott. We just wanted to let you guys know that, the podcast is going nowhere. So if you're new to the podcast, we wanted to introduce Jay and kind of talk about what Jay's planning on bringing to the table for the pod and things like that. So, Jay, welcome.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Oh, man. So,
I just love the sound of my voice.
Yeah, if you guys have been longtime listeners, obviously you've heard Jay on the podcast before. I myself talk about fishing with Jay. Jay's part of the Jackson Kayak team. And, why don't you give everybody a rundown, Jay? I know we've done it on previous podcasts, but as we're moving forward, we always get new listeners to the pod, so we'll just run through it real quick.
So I am a current team member of the Jackson Kayak family. I'm not looking at the camera right now. I'm cheating. Then I'm also, I'm on the pro staff for Power Pole and Savior Outdoors and Smith Optics. Onyx Outdoors, or Onyx, gear, Onyx Outdoors, Krabby Bass Lures, Raw Dog Tactical, to name a few. And, it's a lot of good companies, a lot of good people behind them, companies I believe in, stuff I like to use personally.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Big proponent of not just jumping on a pro staff just to, get pro staff approval from everybody.
Sure.
I actually use this stuff.
Yeah.
I like this stuff. It's vetted.
Yeah.
By me. It's approved by Jay.
Yeah. And,
so it's good.
Well, like Jay said, he's not looking at the camera. So that's one of the things Jay and I have been talking about and working on. So, obviously we have the podcast audience, right? And Jay and I both do YouTube videos. All my videos are uploaded to the Paddle and Fin channel. Jay's got his Jay Randall Kayak Angler YouTube channel as well, and I'm sure you're going to be putting some content onto the Paddle and Fin one as well. But that was the one thing we had talked about when this all came about is doing video during the podcast, and I think it's cool because we can upload that, we can reach another audience. Not everybody's a podcast listener, but however we can reach our YouTube audiences that way. We're gonna we're working it out where we can do it with guests as well. Right now we're recording on Skype. That's not something that everybody always has. So we're looking into some different avenues so we can bring the video aspect, the audio aspect, and just kind of hit everything at all different angles, right? So I think it's going to be cool. It'll be a nice addition. Me and Jay were kind of messing around with this the other night, being goofy and stuff, but it works, obviously
it's keeping it fun, man.
Yeah, I'm down here in the fish cave. Jay's in the midst of setting up his studio, so if you're watching this on video, sorry about Jay's lighting.
Yeah, I prepared this. This is professional.
Yeah, it's driving him nuts, just like I'm sure it's driving you nuts. But it's cool, man. It's different. It's nice to be able to talk face to face, even though we're not in the same room, And what's cool about it too is like I think the other night I was showing you something where we can share computer screens if we're talking about something, looking something up, talking baits. We can show the baits in the picture, things like that. So it's going to be beneficial. I think it'll be a nice extra avenue, so to speak, to add to the podcast thing in all. But yeah, man. So obviously, our loyal listeners have heard quite a bit about you and what you do. So, obviously, let's start off with this. When I made the phone call to you about Scott stepping away and asking you to come in, what were your thoughts, man? I mean, I know you were like, well, I wasn't expecting that, but
This is definitely true. You kind of took me by surprise. I mean, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of like heard that coming, but I mean, in terms of Scotty maybe leaving, I didn't know I would be your first choice, which is cool. But I was like, whoa, hey,
yeah,
like comfort zone. I kind of like being behind the scenes, I
yeah,
mean, some people see the Instagram, the Facebook and stuff, and it's funny because come from a band boy. It's like I've been in bands and and everything, and
sure,
I still kind of like my space,
yeah,
and this puts me out there. And I was a little nervous. I mean, full disclosure, everybody, I don't claim to be a pro, none of that stuff. I mean, I'm just a regular dude who likes to fish, likes to have fun. You'll
sure.
learn that I'm a little quirky and goofy. That's fine, and maybe this will help me come out a little more. I
Well,
mean, maybe this will bring it out.
Well, I'll say the same thing, man. Like, when me and Scott started this, like, I remember we were both like super nervous, like you don't want to say the
Yeah.
wrong thing, you don't want to put out
Yeah.
the wrong image, things like that. And I think, and especially doing the YouTube videos, like it's definitely helped me come out of my shell a little bit more. Um, because I'm the same way, man. I'm a goofy, silly guy, and I try to present myself on the podcast as very calm, collective, professional, whatever, which is great. And I think that's a necessity. But, the goofiness does come out from time to time. Like last podcast, we were talking about, you know, we were making
I'm
jabs
moving
at
the
each
mic.
other. We were
It's
making,
driving me nuts.
I know, we were making jabs at each other, Jackson versus Bonafide, things like that. I think it's all in, good fun. But that's something we've always agreed on is, when it comes to something like that, each boat is going to cater to everyone's needs and stuff. So, I mean, we try to keep it real on that aspect, but, goofing around, joking with each other about that kind of stuff, I think it adds to the show, and it shows our personalities that we can make jabs at each other and, still
Sure.
sit down and talk and enjoy it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's cool, man, because me and you get on the water quite a bit, and I will say, like, since I met you, you kind of pushed me out there to go explore some new waters, doing the extra YouTube stuff, and I know now that I'm into it and doing it, it's kind of pushing you in the same direction to do some more stuff. I know you texted me the other day and you're like, dude, like, what the heck, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
I
making
mean,
me.
when I wake up in the morning and all I see is a video of you, and I'm like, oh my god.
and,
And then like,
and
what? I'm
two
not gonna make a scene.
podcasts.
I'm a procrastinator. Oh my god, I'm like the worst. I've got videos sitting on my. Oh well, here it comes.
Yeah,
I've got videos sitting on my laptop right now that I should have out there and I don't.
sure.
Especially with my sturgeon trip. I
Yeah,
mean,
right,
why am I not telling everybody about that? I don't know.
right.
But I'm a big fan of filming. I love being in the moment.
Yeah,
I have an issue with I have like ADD with sitting down and editing, but once I'm there, I'm all in.
you're in the zone. Yeah.
It's a conditioning thing. So
Well,
I'm working on that.
and that's what I told you. I'm like, because you were like, man, you're like pumping out all this stuff. I feel like I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, dude, you got to understand, like, it's not. And I told Scott the same way because he had the same feeling. He's like, dude, you're like doing all these YouTube videos, like, setting up guests for the pod. And, I was like, dude, don't even worry about it. That's just me being me and trying to get in a routine for this coming season. Obviously, you guys have heard kind of my plans for this coming season. And, because I'm the same way. I'm a big procrastinator. Ask my wife. She's been screaming at me to hang something up upstairs for about 2 months. And I told her I was going to do it this last Saturday. And instead, we recorded the Roundtable podcast. So,
well, your priorities are straight. That's what's important.
Right. She wouldn't agree with that, but,
the house will always be there.
Yeah, right. But it's just one of those things. Like, I know if I don't get in the routine of doing it and continuing to stay in that routine, so to speak, like, I'll be in the same boat and just procrastinate. So I'm just trying to drive myself and stay on top of it instead of falling behind. Right. And, I think that's been the cool thing between me and you is we both kind of motivate each other in different aspects. Right. I mean, you motivate me when I'm on the water, getting out of my comfort zone, throwing different baits. This past season, I threw more swim baits than I've ever thrown before, and throwing white, because white was never a color I'd pull out. And
it works.
And yeah, I mean, I saw how successful you were, and then I'd switch up, and then next thing you know, I'm just going to it. So it's cool. And it was the same thing with me and Scott on the water, but I'm not discounting that. But
no, Sky's a great dude, man. I mean, I love the dude. It's funny because I actually nobody knows this is history, but I actually met Scott first,
right?
At a demo at Rocktown,
right,
doing a thing for Jackson and just helping out Rocktown because I'm always willing to help out Rocktown. And then I met you, and our friendship just took off, you know. And like I told you, I mean, you're like, it's interesting. I mean, Scott, not to discount him as well, but when I met you, I was like, dude, it's funny how you fit right into my group of friends. Like, I've known you for like years. That's the way it felt.
Right.
It was automatically, just comfortable and to be yourself and just have a good time. And that's really what all this is about anyway, is just having a good time.
Yeah.
Because
and that's the thing that we always promote. Yeah. That's the thing we always promote on the podcast, just getting people outside, enjoying it, getting in kayaks, catching fish. Like, that's what it's all about, But it's, I mean, you're spot on, because I remember, me and Scott were a few episodes in, and we were like, well, we should get a guest. And I was like, yeah, who do we ask, And Scott was like, well, let me reach out to this Jay guy. He's on the Jackson team, and he was at the Rocktown demo. He seemed like a really cool dude, answered a bunch of my questions. I think he had your info or something that you may have given him at the demo. And he reached out to you. And I remember when we recorded that podcast, I'm like, I don't know this dude. Like, I've never talked to him, never met him. And I was like super nervous, because A, you were our first guest. B, I didn't know really anything about you. And then I threw the invite out there because we found out you were a huge pike fisherman. And I had been slamming pike on the home lake. And you were like, yep, just tell me when. I'm there. Just tell me when. Yeah, I'm coming.
Just come over. I mean, to be honest, I was going to be like, hey, so... hey.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you made the trip out, and then I think we fished a few times out here, and then I remember you and I went up to Madison to hit the Madison chain, and that just spiraled from there.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's funny, like, now we talk like every day, every other day. So it's cool, man. Yeah, it's well, cool most of the time.
Their girlfriend's like, who are you talking to now?
Yeah.
Brian. Like, it's Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, my wife's the same way. It's either you talking to Scott or are you talking to Jay? And I'm like, I'm talking to Jay this time. 20 minutes ago, I was talking to Scott.
Yeah.
But I'll be calling Scott back in about 20 minutes as soon as I get off the phone with Jay.
That's so funny, dude.
So, but that's the thing. It's our little fishing circle. We all enjoy each other's company on the water and stuff. So, it's cool, man. I think it'll be a nice addition to the podcast. I mean, you obviously have a a lot to offer with your expertise, so to speak. You know, you've been around the block, but you know,
yeah, just once.
Yeah, just once. But yeah, it'll be cool. I mean, you know, those that don't know Jay, he likes to chase pike. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jay likes to chase bass, but you know, pike is like one of his true passions, and you know, like he talked about, he, you know, just got back from a sturgeon trip not too long ago. We're planning a trip to go out there. I'm looking forward, Mr. Sturgeon Steve, to catch a bigger sturgeon than Jay. So, wink, wink.
You know, it's funny. I actually already thought of that, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm a little indifferent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one side of me wants to, you know, to give you that.
Sure.
But the other side of me is like, no, man, that's mine.
Yeah, that's mine.
Like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No.
It's cool.
Like, and if it does happen, like, I'm going to have to do it better. So,
hey, we'll just
I don't know how long I'm going to be in Idaho if that happens.
Yeah, we'll either have to A, change the flight, or B, not make any stops on the way home if we drive out. So,
yeah.
But,
yeah. I'm just like, you know, I thought of that though. I was like, what if he catches I'll never hear the end of it.
My sturgeon's bigger than yours.
Losing the bigger one. I know, and especially after losing the first one, like the first time I went out there. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I know that one was bigger than the 6.5 footer I caught. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. But that's the thing. Like when we're on the water, you know, it's like it's a friendly competition between each of us, like who caught the bigger bass or who caught the bigger pike. But that's what makes it fun, you know. We just, you know, that's how I think we drive each other in a certain way, you know. So it'll be cool, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, this is new for me. It's kind of like, it's funny. So for anybody out there that's never done this, and that counts me, you know, or I'm counted in there as well. You know, putting yourself out there, there's a vulnerability to that. So be okay with that. I mean, because whatever happens, you're gonna get judged. Who cares? Just have fun. Do what you want to do. Be yourself. That's all I can say. Don't play to anyone else's game. And that's what I'm gonna try to do, is just be myself. And anybody who's met me knows the way I am, you know. And it's like, I don't know. I like to be funny, you know. It's like I like to crack jokes. I like light of things. I can be serious, you know, when I need to. But for the most part, my whole life is built around just like trying to have as much fun as you can.
Sure.
And enjoying, you know, being out there in the outdoors and enjoying with other people, you know. Yeah. And I've circled myself with some like really good people, and everyone else should try to do that too.
No, I totally agree with that, man. And that's one thing, like, you know, when we started the podcast, when I started doing YouTube videos and stuff, I was so conscious of like what everybody else thought.
Yeah.
And, you know, I referenced, you know, an interview in my last Sly Dog Fishing podcast, and it was with David Letterman and Marilyn Manson. Goofy reference. However, David Letterman says to Marilyn Manson, like, you know, how do you measure your success? You know, like you have a ton of people that love you. However, you got a lot more people that hate you. And he said, you know, if everybody loved me, I don't think I'd be successful. He goes, the people that hate me, I'm making them think, and thinking is healthy. So therefore, I judge that as being successful. And I can agree with that, man. Like, you know, everybody's going to have haters, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And a lot of that hate comes from all different reasons, and who really cares, you know? Just be yourself, be you, just let loose, have fun, you know? So I agree.
Yeah, and like you said, like that whole mission statement, you know, I mean, really, you know, the whole like point of the podcast is just to promote the camaraderie and the sport of kayak fishing.
Right.
And all the, you know, and the positive points and the fun stuff. So, you know, off of the negativity, just have fun. Get out there and go fish. Whether you're catching small fish or big fish, don't get me wrong. We all want to catch big fish. I get that, but that's not always the case, you know. And there's some guys that are better sticks than us, and I mean, I'm totally okay with that. It happens, you know. I'm a knucklehead. Like, I'll tell you right now, I have botched more bass tournaments because I will not change lures and change colors. I am like, no, this is my confidence bait. This will work, and I'm telling you right now, they don't always work. But
it's all about getting out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and I gotta be willing to change, and I try to do that, and I really do.
Sure.
That's why Brian makes the jokes about white,
Yeah.
because it is like it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite colors,
Yeah.
as far as lures go, mainly because it mimics bait fish. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it mimics bait fish, and I mean, I use black and blues. I use dark colors. I'll use green pumpkin.
Sure.
Up north, I don't really think you need a lot of crazy colors.
Sure.
We're down to a few, and that goes for every, kind of fish. Trout, or I mean, trout are a little different, but I mean, that's more of like, for me, it's like fire tiger,
Right. Right.
or some, even smallies will nail fire tiger. So, I mean,
Oh yeah. I've caught
that's one of my favorite.
I've caught a lot of walleyes on
accommodations
fire
well.
tiger. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, it's like, but yeah, man, it's like, this is just by having fun, dude. And that's all I want to do. And I heard to feel at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know what? I'm really sorry to everybody who has to watch my ugly face.
Yeah. Well, you're a seasoned veteran on the podcast. You've been on a few times, and I think that's what kind of helped warm you up to this. It's just like we talked about on the last pod on the round table. I mentioned at the end that I think everybody messaged me and was like, I don't know what to say. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like an idiot and this and that. It's like, dude, just calm down, relax. We're just a bunch of dudes talking fishing, just don't worry about that stuff, and I know a couple guys were like, that wasn't as bad as I thought. They messaged me after the show and they're like, thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed that. I know some guys had some questions. Justin, asked you about Jackson team, stuff like that.
Sure.
We were talking to Todd Phillips about a boat, and it was funny too because we talked about that after. We were like, you know what, we need to follow up with him and have him back on after he decides, what boat he got, what led him to the decision, things like that.
Yep.
And I think the same goes for all those guys.
Yeah.
I know you haven't met Jacob yet, but we talked about floating that river and stuff, and I think that'll be a good time. Jacob's a good dude. I talk to him all the time. He's already texted me like 6 times today, so I mean, we've become friends. Wait a second.
How many times did you text me?
I probably texted you a dozen times. Yeah.
Oh, well, then it's okay then. All right. But watch out, Jake.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, man. That's what I love about this podcast is we meet so many interesting people and we become friends, and it's just growing our community,
Absolutely.
So that's the one thing, man. It's super cool, and I think that roundtable podcast went really well. I think if I had to critique it, maybe we had too many guys on, and I felt bad because a couple guys were sitting silent for extended periods of time. But I think it's something that we definitely want to do more of. I know Scott and I had talked about doing like previous guest roundtable, like having yourself and like Christine Fisher, Steve McGee, Sturgeon Steve, like, having some of the guests on that we've had before and just sitting down talking fishing.
I had actually thought of this. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was like, so we had that round table, and I'm like, what would be cool? I was like, for the majority of us that are in the area, if we found like some common ground, and what I mean by that is like literally ground, to go fishing somewhere, maybe we could do like a campfire round table of sorts.
Do a
day of fishing, even get footage from the fishing day, and then everybody come back and like have some drinks and then be around the campfire or something.
Yeah.
And then, get some people together and then just have a full on conversation, just have mics everywhere where everybody can talk. So to your point where you feel like some people had to sit back and be quiet, and let other people talk, which I was, it wasn't a big deal like to me, because I mean, and I don't think anybody else thought that too, because you got to let everyone else talk, because they need, they deserve their time too. Right. But I mean, but if you could have like a real full-on conversation with everybody, why not? And I would love to talk to Christine Fisher, because I've met her once at the national championship, and man, that girl is killing it.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
or I should say that woman.
Yeah,
But I mean, she is, dude. And you guys out there, watch out
yeah,
because she is someone to be.
yeah.
She's on your
She's
tail, man. If not,
yeah,
she is like definitely past you. I mean, she is somebody to go after because she is really good. Matter of fact, she was when we did our podcast, Roundtable. She was on her second day of sturgeon fishing, and guess what?
she got a bigger fish than you.
Yes, she did. The first day. First day she caught a 7-footer, dude.
Yeah,
was
I
like,
saw that video today. I was like, oh
like,
snap. Yeah,
you know what though? But I mean, not even like she puts in her time,
yeah. Oh, dude, that's
and I know her background is like built on that
fishing.
stuff. So
Yeah,
she deserves what she's doing.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I know she's going to be on a live stream tonight.
I saw that too on Bass Nation or something.
Yeah, tonight's live stream on Kayak Bass Nation, and they got 2 other ladies as well that I'm not familiar with. But you know,
I met one of them before briefly, and I don't know the other one. I'm actually looking for it right now.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing, man. Is like that chick, she gets it done.
She does,
and that was one thing. Like again, like when we recorded that episode, like I set that whole thing up, and I was like super nervous to talk to her, just because she gets it done, dude. She's a big deal, man, and you know, not to over promote her or anything, but she deserves it.
So here, let me plug them real quick.
Sure.
So tonight at 9 p.m. Central, it's funny because we're plugging another like set.
Yeah.
But that's what this is about.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't
right.
matter.
Yeah.
There's not like we're not being like just listen to panel and fit.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all.
No.
So on Kayak Bass Nation live tonight, I'm guessing they're probably doing it on Facebook.
Yeah, that's
you're gonna
usually
have Christine. Where they do it. So it'll be Christine Fisher. It'll be Jessie Mitchell, who I've met too briefly.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't remember me. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Holly Bombach.
Okay.
That
Bombach, I think it is.
Bombach, whatever. Yeah. If I'm butchering that, I apologize.
Sure.
But yeah, so tune into that. Like, well, it's gonna be past the time.
Yeah.
But
well, they put it on.
If you did catch that, good for you.
They put it on the Facebook page, and you can go back and rewatch it because that's where that live stream with Ron Champion and AJ and all those guys about sponsorships and pro staff was.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, man, it's cool. Yeah, sorry, had a little burp. Been drinking some water, but
that's funny because I'm not.
But yeah, I mean it's cool, man. I'm looking forward to just shooting some video with you. You know, we've always tried to accommodate each other that way, and you know, you always get the good photos. I seem to get some decent videos or edit them somewhat decently. If you guys haven't seen mine and Jay's trip up to Madison Shane, check that video out. I just watched it the other night actually, and I was like, man, I did a pretty decent job at this edit. So, but yeah,
I just remember my snowboard days. I mean, they aren't over with, but I mean, back in the day, it's like I remember taking pictures of all my friends, and we're getting a killer shot and everything, and then they take a picture of me, and like my head's cut off.
Yeah,
I'm missing body parts. I'm like, dude, like, are you not even like? Do you not even care?
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I tried. It's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. We're in Steamboat. We're in Steamboat, Colorado, man. Like, what is the deal? I'm getting air on a half pipe, and you got me like in the half.
Yeah,
pipe. That's not where the shot is, dude. It's up there.
That's how it was back in the day for me too, when we were skateboarding and snowboarding, man. Because I was the one like in photography classes and stuff, and you know, I was doing the same stuff, taking photographs, videos. And then I'd hand the camera over to my buddies, and it was just like, dude, like, what?
It's like they were looking away.
I'm better off setting up a tripod, you know. But
dude, for real,
you know, well, it's like the opening picture on the Paddle and Fin website is a photo you took of me, you know, when we were down by Newton Lake.
Yeah, it's a pretty good picture. I gotta say,
you can pat yourself on the back for that one.
Yeah,
I'll let you.
I don't think I don't know. I gotta stretch more. Yoga. I need some yoga.
But
no, I mean, you know what it is. It's like I love taking pictures. Actually, and Drew Gregory was really cool about this when I got to hang out with him. I got a couple of good shots, and he was kind enough to tag me and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I just like to try to get the best shot I can of
Sure.
anybody. And I thought I saw a really good opportunity when you were casting at that log. I mean, it presented I was like, I can get behind this log and get a killer shot.
Yeah.
I was like, why not?
And we did it. We did it like 4 or 5 times just to make sure we got it. So.
Oh yeah.
But that's a thing. Like in the round table, Justin was asking about that, and that was the thing I had said is like you have helped me with some of that and inspired me to do more of it. The big thing nowadays is everything's all about social media and promoting and like getting good photos and stuff. And that's some of the stuff I was lacking on. But now it's like a more conscience of it. I think about it more, put a little bit more thought into the pictures I'm taking and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I mean, I think between you and I, coming up in the spring and stuff, we're gonna get some pretty good footage and photos and all that good stuff. So it should be good. It should be really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
It's like I can't wait. I mean, look, what we were just talking about the other day, right? About getting a gimbal.
Yeah.
Right? And we were talking about, and I'm still so torn. Yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at everything, because like you have an iPhone. I do not. I know for a fact this stuff's gonna work with your iPhone like great.
Right.
Not so much mine. There is some kind of I don't know. It's a conspiracy, I think, but like for whatever reason, there seems to be some glitches in the apps with a lot of the gimbals and stuff. But I want to get the smartphone gimbal because. I mean, I have an S9 and it takes really great video.
Right.
You can do 4K, everything. And then also I can still use an action cam on there, a GoPro. They have like a little adapter for it. And again, dude, I was looking at it this morning and I'm like, I just don't know what you get. I'm looking at the Movi Mini, and then you were, I forget the one you were talking about, but there's
Smooth.
the Smooth. The DJI. There's the what is that one? The free, I don't know. It's the one that looks different than all the other ones. That one looks rad, but it's like $300. And I'm like, all the other ones like $100. So I just got to like pull a trigger, I think. And I actually want to have it before we do the show in Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to, because I was actually going to bring my son and he's going to like record me or us as well.
Yeah.
Because he was like, really? Well, yeah, dude, I'm going to put you to work, man.
Yeah.
That's your camera boy.
We've been talking about that, just getting some good video and interviews and all kinds of stuff like that at the show, doing some boat walkthroughs and stuff like that, Yeah. And that's the thing. We're always looking to step up our game, and that was the one thing I was looking at. And I know, we haven't talked about it recently, but the one thing we were talking about was getting drone footage, which...
Yes, we don't have one of those.
Yeah, we don't have one of those yet, but I've been looking. Looking. So
I think the one that I really like is it's another DJI one, but I forget the name of it, but it's like the little one, and like in watching Casey Neistat's videos, seeing like how that thing can hover and you can get it like right in front of somebody and not have to worry about the thing like nicking you in the face.
Right.
But I mean, you can get like some really killer shots with these things, and so we definitely gonna do that. And I think it's important to mention too that not everything. This whole channel and everything is going to bring a lot of content from a lot of different avenues. So that being said, I'm concentrating more on this year. I'm a big overland fan, like off the grid.
Yep.
Not plugging in solar type stuff. So I'm getting a rooftop tent this year. I'm going to put it on top of my camper. Said the wrong thing. I meant the trailer.
On top of your trailer.
I'm going to put it on top of your camper.
Yeah.
No,
we could do that. Two-story camper.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Like, it's a really long walk. The ladder doesn't reach. But it's like, can I get an extension?
Yeah.
But I'm going to put it on top of my trailer, my kayak trailer, which my Big Rig FD will be on. And I really want to get more into some of that aspects, like the camping, like the ease of water access, because we talked about doing the land between the lakes over down in Kentucky. Remember, so between Kentucky Lake and Barkley
I always mess those two up.
It's all good, but there's some really neat like some really cool camping locations that are right by the water where you can just take the kayak in. And I mean, I'll give a shout out to Adventure Man, who's one of the guys on YouTube who does all the van life stuff.
Sure.
I watched a lot of his videos, and it was funny because I remember watching that video, and I'm like, dude, I was like, that's where me and Glenn were. I was like, that's the same man. You know, he's in Smith Bay, dude. I'm like, we were right there. But I mean, I remember that, and I'm like, I remember not even really having a chance to even realize there was. I knew there was camping, but I didn't like have a chance to soak any of that in.
Sure.
Because when we were there at the national championship, it was all business.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, you were getting in the water, you're going, and then you get back. I mean, it was, dude. I've never been so exhausted, you know, from fishing. But I want to get more into the connection with nature. You know, really enjoying nature.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's like I'll do a couple tournaments here and there. I'm not heavy into it, but right. I mean, I'm not really a tournament guy. I'm more an adventure seeking type individual. And as a matter of fact, that's where the fly fishing comes in.
Yep.
So it's not always going to be a kayak. It's not always going to be from land.
Sure.
Sometimes it'll be from the boat with Scotty Burrs like we did.
Yep.
You know, big thanks to him and you as well for, you know, taking me walleye fishing. I've never done that.
You owe me.
Never done that degree.
You owe me.
Yeah, maybe one of those days I'll show you that secret pike spot.
No, it's a smallmouth spot, dude. I've been sitting here in front of my microphone for months. Too. Yeah.
Wait, is that another spot?
Yeah,
the smallest spot. That's right. That's what I meant.
That's what it was.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you know, so it's gonna be like I kind of like I don't know. I'd like to see like an evolution of just everything that's involved with the outdoor camping, you know, life. That's what I hope to bring to this as well. And then, you know, there'll be like, you know, even down to like the trailer, you know, we're using and maybe some modifications, which I think could be an upcoming thing. Yeah. You know, just anything that has to do with that. That just like, you know, gives you guys insight to what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that might benefit you. Again, it might not all benefit you. That's
totally
fine. I mean, not all the, you know, I'm out there on YouTube just like you guys are.
Sure.
I'm dodging this light back and forth. I don't know if you know that. But I mean, I'm on YouTube doing research and finding that stuff out and learning things, because you know I don't know. It's like, you know, from growing up. I mean, I got away from fishing for a while and then I came back. You know, and I came back hard. You know, but it's like I got sucked into the whole work thing just like anybody else. But now I'm like making a point to get back out there and put myself in that position. And I don't know. It's just fun. You know, it's like, and if you like being outdoors, why not do it?
Yeah.
I mean, just go out there and enjoy it.
No, I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way, and we've had many conversations about this, just me and you. You know, like when I put the trailer together, you know, you were like, "Oh, dude, I've been like thinking about doing something like this, or doing a van," and you know, it kind of goes hand in hand, whether you fish tournaments or not. But a lot of tournament guys are going and sleeping in the parking lots, you know, at the launch, you know, because they can't afford a hotel room, B, it's more comfortable than sleeping in a tent, or
it's just too far away.
Weather, campgrounds are too far away, and that was like part of my idea with the trailer is like, man, I can go anywhere. Camping is dirt cheap, even with an electrical hookup. But like to your point, I have a power inverter where I can turn 12 volt power into 120 volt power. So, you know, it's the same way. And, you know, we've both talked about doing some of the off-grid stuff, just because I think it goes hand in hand, you know, like if you wanted to make a road trip up to the middle of nowhere, Canada or something, to fish, you know, you could do something like that. Even in the States, you know, like going out west, even up north. You know, there's some spots where you can get off grid, camp, fish, do all that good stuff. So I'm right there with you, man. I think it'll be a good little addition that we've been talking about adding to the show. You know, not just to the show, but like YouTube vids. You know, on the Paddle and Fin channel, I did 2 videos of the trailer build. When it gets a little bit warmer, I'm going to do some more with that, because I still have a little bit of work to finish up on the trailer. But that's something I'm going to utilize this year, being on the road. You know, we've talked about the possibility of driving out to Idaho.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Going down to Kentucky. I know you don't want to drive to
Think
Idaho.
about that too.
But I'm like, dude,
Just,
there's like some spots we can hit along the way.
I know.
Just saying. But you know, that's the thing though. I mean, I know what your position is. You know, you don't have like, you only have X amount of vacation time, right? Whereas, you know, I can afford to do that next year for the most part. But
yeah, I mean, down the line, like I see that being more of an option where I kind of have more control at, like, I mean, believe it or not, like probably the next 3 years.
Sure.
You know, it's like I have responsibilities I kind of do. But that being said,
no, I'm the same way.
You know, if anybody follows me, you know, I'm always out. I mean, I'm a weekend warrior, and I will shave a day or two off of my work week.
Yeah.
To go up to, you know, some of my favorite locations or new locations.
Yeah.
Because I am always down for new water, down for new places. You know, I mean, I have my favorite places too, but there's so much out there that if you're not out there exploring, you should be, because there are some opportunities. Man, I have come, like, especially in Michigan, I've come up on opportunities that I didn't even know were there.
Right.
And it was amazing. I mean, I've had some of my best times in some of those areas. You know, sometimes, you know, it's a struggle too. It depends. But, you know, when you think you got it and you got that confidence, be like you're throwing white all day and it doesn't work. But, you know, but I mean, yeah, just, you know, get out there and explore. I mean, that's what it's for. Don't get so locked into stuff. And that's why, you know, I don't like getting pigeonholed, and I love like fishing for different kinds of fish. If I can be taught different kinds of fish. Like I'm going to do some catfishing this year too. I'm going to try to get some big catfish.
Yeah.
I got a couple places where I know I can throw, plus your lake as well.
Yep.
I think catfish are definitely not sought after as much as anything else is.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
they're
going to be
definitely overlooked.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean, giant fish, and you're not fishing for them.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, dude, it's anything that goes with the whole outdoor experience. You know, I mean, even the conservation side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, protect your national resources. I mean, and you want your children's children to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Protect them as much as you can. You know, and I said it too on the last one. Like, if you show up somewhere and there's garbage,
pick it up.
Just pick it up.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've like thrown stuff in my kayak on the river because it's just like, you're like, really?
Right.
Like, this is out here, and I get it. Some of that stuff isn't, but I mean, people, you know, they litter. You know, we've all littered. It's like, just pick it up. Just, you know, it's not the DNR's responsibility. It's your responsibility and stuff like that. So, you know, enough of the preaching on that side.
Well,
but yeah,
I think it was the last time we floated the river down by your place. I remember we found a big spool of line floating in the water, right? Remember that? And you were like, I don't have a knife, and I'm like, I do, and you know, fish get caught up in that stuff.
It was anchor. It was anchor rope, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and the anchor was stuck, but I mean,
yeah,
I was like, dude, who like lets out like the whole line? Like,
yeah, there had to been
no
50 to 75 feet of rope there, you know.
Yeah,
but it's just stuff like that, man.
You know. But I mean, you know, just protect your natural resources. I mean, I mean, you're only hurting yourself and everyone else if you don't. I mean, you know, again, enough with the preaching. And I mean, just you know, do your part. That's all. You know, that's the best thing you can do, and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you know, this whole thing's going to be about just having fun and getting out there, and I don't know, new experiences, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah,
you know, definitely about it.
No, for sure, man, for sure. And I'll give kudos. You know, I've noticed a lot of fishing tournaments are picking up the concept of, you know, and KBL's one of them. Like, you go clean up some of your local waters, you know, collect a bag full of trash, and they'll give you some bonus Angler of the Year points. I think that's genius, man. Like, that goes a long way. I mean, again, not trying to preach, but kudos to those trail series that are doing that, you know. Yeah, I understand not everybody can get out and do that, but for the guys that can and go out and do it, kudos to you, you know. It only helps, you know. I think that's the big problem, you know. There's just too much of it going on, and you know.
And if you teach it to your kids, like
that's key.
A real world example is we went to a lake local to where I live, and I mean, I saw garbage everywhere, and I was like, oh my god, you know. And lo and behold, I actually found a bag that we filled with garbage.
Yeah, right.
So the bag was garbage, filled the bag with garbage, and threw it out. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, and that was just because I taught the kids something pretty valuable that day. You know,
sure.
and they liked doing it.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, it was just one of those things, and that's what's going to make it better for all of us in the future.
totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
preaching over with.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you better be.
But yeah, man, let's just have some fun out there and promote everybody. Whether you're great, good, mediocre, who cares, man? It's
Doesn't
all
matter.
about just getting together and having fun.
As long
You
as you're
know,
getting on the water,
yeah,
getting fishing, like
for sure.
that's one thing I've been thinking about too. You bring up, teaching your kids and stuff, like trying to get involved with getting some youth on the water, man. That's something I've been thinking about lately. Like, how should I go about doing that? So if anybody's
Throw their,
listening and is like
throw their
involved with
Xbox in
that,
the water.
yeah, trust me, dude. If I could, I'd go upstairs right now and grab my sons and throw it in the dumpster. But you know, I get it. Like that's where some kids go nowadays, just to get away from the normal hustle and bustle everyday life. But you know, kids need to get outside. They need to know.
For
It's like.
sure.
So, and even adults, they get so buried in electronics these days when you can go for a hike or go cast a line. There's more to life than just keeping your head buried in your laptop or your cell phone. So, but yeah, man, that's something I've been thinking about lately, and part of that inspiration came from Eric from Hammered Lures, right? He's working on a program now where he wants to recycle people's plastic baits and melt them down, make new lures. And, after that podcast, me and him talked, and I said, you should reach out to Heroes on the Water because they do a lot of good stuff for our veterans. And so he actually reached out to him, and he's working something out. So, and me and him have been talking as well about how to go about collecting up these plastics. So we're working on it for those of you that caught that on the last episode. But I think it's cool, man, and that inspires me to do more. And I'd love to do something for the veterans or just getting kids involved. I've been thinking about various ways. I won't say what yet, but if anybody does anything like that, reach out to me, please, at paddleandfin@gmail.com, because that's something I've seriously been putting a lot of thought into. But it's cool, man. So, but
Yeah, I might have a little bit for that too. I can talk to the Krabby Bass guys and see if they got some scraps and stuff that they can melt down.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even lures. I'm just thinking, like, I'm close to Rockford, right? And there's parts of Rockford that aren't the greatest, and if I can get some less fortunate kids that may not be able to have the opportunity to get out and fish, like trying to present something where I can get them on the water or get a fishing rod to them or something like that. So I got a couple ideas in the works. So yeah, it'll be cool, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, man. So what else we got?
Yeah, it's like, it's that moment where everything goes silent and you're like,
yeah, which is usually rare when you and I are chatting, but man, well,
we know everybody's watching.
Yeah, right.
Don't watch us, like, not right now. Like, just go get something to drink.
Yeah, I mean, we got some exciting stuff coming up. We got some guests that we're working on.
We got some good guests.
Oh,
I don't know if
Jay's.
I don't know if you know this, dude.
Jay's doing his homework, so
yeah. See this, Spencer? I got it, man. I've been reading. I like it. Like, some of these munchies look good. Matter of fact, you might have to hook up and you might have to cook.
Yeah,
because some of this stuff looks like exquisite.
Yeah. So what Jay's talking about is he's holding up Spencer Jones's book, who's going to be on our next podcast.
That's right.
Spencer's written a couple books now. He's a super positive dude, and I
Yeah.
remember I came across him on, I think it was Instagram, and he was posting pictures of his book that came out right around Thanksgiving, I believe. And I was like, oh, dude, I got to pick this book up. Like, kind of on a mission next year. I'm definitely kayaking for some adventure, and that's the name of his book that we're going to discuss is Kayaking for an Adventure, or Jonesing for a Kayaking Adventure. My apologies.
Yeah,
But
Josen for kayak fishing adventures.
I,
And
I
he also
botched it
wrote
again.
one other one.
Yeah,
It's
it's
Beyond the Break.
yeah, yeah. And I
That
know
was his
he's
trip
working
to go fishing. He went to a tournament. I think down in
Sailfish Smackdown.
Louisiana, right?
I
Yeah,
forget.
and sorry, I drowned you out, brother.
No, I forget what it was. I haven't read that book yet, but I picked a book up and we kind of started chatting, and we've been working on trying to get Spencer on. We had a bunch of episodes recorded for December. Holidays hit. I told him let's do it right after January, and so the time has finally come, and I'm stoked. And
Yep.
I remember when I ordered the book like the day it was available, and it's a great book. It's got a bunch of camping stuff, like different ways to get out and go kayak fishing, whether you're staying in a hotel, camping, couch surfing, you name it. He runs through it all, and then he's
Yeah.
got a bunch of cool like camping recipes and stuff in there that we're gonna chat with him about. But I'm on the same page as you. I think we need to get Spencer to cook some stuff for us. But
Yeah.
and it was funny because after I found it, I was like, hey, you ever heard of this dude, Spencer Jones? And you're like, yeah, I've actually fished with him. And I was like, who haven't
Yeah.
you fished with, dude? Like, seriously, every time I come to you, you're like, yeah, I fished with that guy once. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
like, can I find somebody that you haven't fished with? Like, seriously?
I'm
But,
sure there's a few.
but no, and it's funny, but, Spencer, he's like this super positive dude. He's always got a positive message, like on a daily basis, and that's what I love about him. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him just because of that.
He's the only dude I know that can rock a pink suit.
Yeah,
Like that dude
I
wears
saw
such
that.
wild
He-
stuff. And
yeah,
you know what?
he
I
had
can
some killer
never-
suit. He had some killer suits around Christmas. We'll have to drill him about that when he's on the pod, because
Yeah.
I saw the same stuff coming out, and I'm like, damn, you make that look good.
Yeah,
like,
he makes it work.
I would look
Man,
like
I
a
don't. I just
schmo,
can't
man.
do it. Yeah, I would just like, dude. I'm like, just give me something black. Like, yeah, no, he's a really good dude. Real positive. He's a teacher too, so I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
he's great for his students.
Right. Well, I think
and I did have the pleasure of fishing with him, and it was a good time. He actually saved me from bleeding to death.
Yeah.
A
We'll have
little
to,
exaggeration.
that'll have to be the campfire tale on
Yeah.
Spencer's episode. So heads up on that. But yeah, no, I think he's right along the same lines as like what we preach and promote here about growing the
Yeah.
sport, getting people outdoors, and he falls right in line with that. So he's going to be a nice guest to have on for sure. Super looking forward to that. But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, man. There's a lot of good stuff too. I'm working on some other people I haven't told Brian about yet, but maybe some high profile guests. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Hopefully
buddy.
they say yes. Hopefully they say yes. I did text one of them today. If you're watching this, I need a text back.
Yeah,
Just saying.
get on it.
So yeah. But yeah, man, we're just gonna try to bring everybody to you. I mean, even maybe Eric Jackson will grace his presence on this lovely podcast and tell us about his FLW and tour and his whitewater kayaking. If you don't know who Eric Jackson is, he's obviously Jackson Kayak, but he is a world champion whitewater kayaker. This dude is bad, and so are his kids. Like, they're all like crazy awesome at what they do.
Do you think he'll be willing to talk about the issue with his dog and his camper?
He's posting it himself, probably.
I know. Poor guy.
I mean, you know what? You got to take it for. I mean, there's the thing I think you put up too about like having to. He had to get to his axle, and it was like 55-degree water, and he's like diving underneath it.
I
which
saw
to
the
me
video.
Probably doesn't sound abnormal
the video.
because the dude's dunking himself in cold water, in
all the
white-
time. Yeah.
Yeah, Like, I don't really think that's an issue for you, bro.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you know, like Jay said, Eric Jackson fishes FLW. He was down at the first tournament was Ray Roberts, right, down in Texas.
It's somewhat like
Yeah.
that. I'll be honest.
Well, he was
I didn't
going to
really record.
hook his boat up to his trailer, which was hooked to his big RV, and his dogs were in the cab, and the dog somehow kicked the thing into reverse, and next thing you know, you see his boat float up off the trailer, like the RV
Yeah.
is like near submerged. And I think I saw him post a video of him like having to dive down
Yep.
and hook up the chain to the front axle so they could pull the thing
Yeah.
out. And yeah, man,
Yeah.
I feel for him, dude. That's
Eric's a good dude though, man. He's like,
yeah,
if
yeah,
anyone's ever met him, he's probably the most grounded individual I've ever met. Like for the level of uh notoriety and achievement that dude has, I mean, he's so grounded. Their family is like amazing. I mean, um I've had the pleasure of actually being fed by the whole family. I mean, we had, a pretty big shindig at Jackson, but he's a real cool guy. Dane's awesome. Emily is awesome. His wife is awesome. So, real good guy. But yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him too. So I'm kind of putting him on the spot. I guess you gotta do it now, Eric. Sorry, buddy. But and if you're looking at this recording, Brian has just walked away to do something that I don't know about. So now it's all about me. So let's talk about me. So a little bit of my background is, I'm a punker from back in the day, punk rocker, skater, snowboarder. I like to give a lot of my credit to my past and the way I am now, like nutty and just goofy. But fishing has always been a part of my life, and so is the outdoors. But I'm glad to be back in the industry and everything. And okay, well, his hand's making an appearance. But it's fun, man. Just get out there and get out there and fish, even if you're just kayaking, recreational, whatever. Have a good time out there. Enjoy the sport. Pass it on to other people. Because I mean, if we don't, I was reading some articles like there's not enough people fishing right now. Like kids too. I mean, it's a big deal because they'll vote that stuff out, man. So make sure you get your kids out there. I even told my kids this year, I'm like, prepare my children because we are going to be doing some off-grid stuff and you will not be able to plug in.
yeah.
And they're like, what, Dad? What are we going to do? I'm like, I guess not be on the phone doing nothing. Like, let's go do something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they were like, oh my God, they were like traumatized. Like what? Like, what? Well, didn't you get solar? I'm like, it could be for that, bro.
Yeah,
like, sorry, guys.
right.
Yeah. Like,
that just
turn the
powers
phone
it.
off.
Yeah, that just
Yeah.
powers it. Doesn't give you any signal.
Yeah.
But no, I agree, man. And there's been a lot of talk about that. And I think, sorry I walked away there. But
It's okay.
I think, there's been a lot of talk about, the state of the bass industry. Part of that was like the whole Major League Fishing taking a bunch of guys. But not only that, but there was some talk about how numbers just weren't there. Like there's been no growth. And I think a lot of that attributes to, and I think I addressed this somewhere at one point in time that, there's no growth to the sport because a lot of people make it look like, you're not going to catch any fish if you don't have this $500 rod and reel combo, or you don't have a $70,000 boat or a Hobie kayak or whatever. And then everybody's, oh, I can't tell you about my secret spot and things like that. And I think that's one thing that we advocate. Like nothing's top secret with us. We'll share info. And I think that was the one thing, like I said, when I did address this was, if you see a guy struggling, right, and I'm not saying go and give him your GPS coordinates, but if you say, hey, man, go check out this lake, throw these couple of baits, there should be some fish in this area, and that guy goes out and catches 2 to 5 fish, one may be decent, they may all be 13 inches. but I guarantee you that guy's going to have an awesome time, and you're going to see him out there a lot more. You know, and that's what helped grow as a sport, where, you know, there's like some forum pages where like, you know, Scott used to mention the one, and, you know, back in the day when I was on it and I was fishing Lake Geneva in Wisconsin a ton, you know, I'd report to it like, hey guys, was out last night, because it's super clear lake, so we usually fished it at night. Was trolling crankbaits and, you know, X amount of water on the South Shore. Lake Geneva, the South Shore is probably 15 miles long, you know, or 10, I don't know. It's a huge body of water. And I was using this pattern and that pattern, looking for weed edges, and guys are like, what are you doing? You're going to kill the fishing spots, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, like, this is what this forum was created for, like sharing reports, so that way guys can, you know, maybe get a concept and get on some fish, you know. It wasn't post pictures, you know, to show who's got the bigger you know what, you know. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like, and I think that's a problem with the fishing industry. You know, I know this wasn't part of the topic tonight, but this is a subject I get really worked up about and passionate about, if you can't tell that. But it's just like, come on, man. If we all teach each other how to fish, you know, is that going to make everybody better than each other or something? No. Like, we're all out there with the same goal in mind. Catch some fish, you know. I'm not saying, like I said, give GPS coordinates the day before a tournament, you know. The more we teach and spread the word, the bigger fishing is going to get, and the longer it's going to be around for all of us to enjoy, you know. I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't want to get too worked
I mean,
up.
it's, yeah. So aside from that little tidbit of negativity, it's okay. No, Brian's right though. I mean, just, you know, just help out anybody you can when you can.
I don't
you know,
think that was negativity. That was positivity.
It was positivity, a little pessimistic side, side of it. No, whatever. No, but I mean, yeah, I mean, teach somebody whenever they can. I mean, you know, especially kids.
Sure.
Kids are huge, man. Like they're the driving force of the future of this. So, you know, and I mean, and I don't know. I'm not the guy who knows everything about it. I mean, but I just know that you have a part in it. So do it.
No, I take you know? I've talked about it before, dude. Like, you know, I take my daughter out all the time. She loves being in the Pelican kayak, just paddling around, fishing. Some days she beats me on the water, dude. And I love those days more than the days I catch my PBs, you know, or get close to it. Like, just seeing the smile on her face out fishing me is, you can't even put that into words, man. That's just, it's so awesome. You know, it's like my 3-year-old nephew comes over every weekend, and you know, he's talking some, and he calls fish shishies or Nemos, and he's like he always points to the TV, shishies, because, you know, I'm usually watching my YouTube videos or, you know, watching something fishing related, and he sits down on the couch next to me. He's all over it. So he's like the next...
You're brainwashing him already.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's the next Kevin Van Dam for sure. Like,
you will fish.
He's already over it. Actually, I think I posted a picture on our Instagram. There's that little fish game where, like, the mouth's open and closed and you got to put the hook in it. Dude, that's his favorite game. Like, he'll pull that out 10 times on the weekend. So it's cool, man.
Yeah, my youngest still, he still brings up like the 17, 18-inch bass he caught with us. It's funny because we were fishing the lake that you're fortunate enough where the average bass is about a 17-inch bass.
Right.
You're a little spoiled at that lake, but he was little and he had a 3-foot pole, and his brother got his pole like stuck in the tree.
Sure.
Or not the pole, but the line. So I'm messing with that. So he remembers what I had said right before all that happened. I was like, hey, any shady spots? I was like, because they're just using worms and bobber.
Right.
I was like, you want to toss in these areas? I was like, because this is where these bass are going to be right now, especially in the summer. I was like, they're going to be hiding out. So I'm fishing, like, you know, pardon the pun, my oldest, his line out of this tree. Meanwhile, The little one throws the thing like right behind me, and then all of a sudden is like, "Dad, I got a fish," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, stop messing around." He goes, "No, really." And then I look, and his line is like, or his rod is like, "Bleh," you know. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like looking for the bottom, and I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "Oh, reel that thing in, man." I was like, "Reel that thing in," and then I landed for him. It was like a 17-inch bass, dude. He still talks about it to this day. "Hey, Dad, remember that time when I did?" I'm like, "Yeah, when you listened to me."
Yeah.
He's like, "What about now?"
Yeah.
I was like, it's all out the window now. It's like they just like, "Oh, I know everything." Say, "Except that one time they were fishing." I was like, "Yeah, freaking kids."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I still talk about the time I caught the 18-inch crappie through the ice. That's what like turned me on to
That's
fishing, you know? Like
yeah.
my old man, you know, he fished that lake his entire life. He grew up a half a block from it.